Hi guys, how y'all doing? Hope you're well. So today I want to talk to you about the Metal Matte Palette by Kat Von D. This is what the packaging looks like. You can see it says matte, and then if you actually turn it over it says metal. How cool is that? So metal matte, metal matte. Yes, I did spend some time doing that, so you know. I'm sure you guys have seen this all around, but I did get a request to actually do my own review on this, so that's what I'm going to do today. And I do have a demo, just a very brief demo of me just using some of these shadows, and it's more just showing you just how some of the shadows work as opposed to creating a, you know, fabulous look. So I'm going to quickly tell you about my thoughts on this and show you some swatches. I've already done some swatches where I'll take some pictures, but I'll do some live swatches as well of some of the shades for you. So as I said, this is the Kat Von D Metal Matte Eyeshadow Palette. Now I picked mine up from the UK. I got mine from Debenhams, who now stock Kat Von D on their website, and you can find it in store as well. In some stores, I believe, you can find the Kat Von D range. Guys, I was prepared not to pick this palette up. Let me just tell you that now. Okay, I will let you know. I wasn't going to get this palette, and the reason I wasn't going to get this palette is because, let me just bring out the other palette that I bought last year around this time when Kat Von D released her last holiday palette, and I've hardly used it. So the palette I'm talking about from last year is this one, and this is the Mi Vida Loca palette, again by Kat Von D. And guys, as I said, I've hardly used this particular palette. I don't even know why. I just hardly did, and it's kind of like a collector's palette as opposed to anything else, but I was just like, I've hardly used this one. Why am I going to get myself another one? But I loved this palette so much, and I loved her eyeshadow quality. I mean, I don't know why I'm swatching this because you can't even get this palette anymore, but like, look at the quality of this palette. But anyway, because I didn't use it, I just said to myself, I can't justify getting another Kat Von D holiday palette. But I ended up going onto Debenhams website the other week where they were doing their 10% off beauty, and I just saw that the Kat Von D palette was still available, and they were doing 10% off of Kat Von D as well. So I was just like, do you know what, I'm just gonna get it. Okay, so it retails for £50, but obviously I got 10% off, so it went down to £45. Still quite a pricey palette, but I just decided to get it, guys. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual palette itself. So this is the palette, and it is massive. It's so big, and I'm sure you guys have seen this already, but as I already said, it says matte, and then you turn it over and then it says metal. So it's called the Metal Matte Palette, and obviously Kat Von D designs all of her palette designs and everything, so I really love that about her. And then on the inside you've got a really big mirror as well, which I don't want to blind you with, so I'm going to kind of fold that back and then you can see all the eyeshadows that you've got here as well. You have, in total, you have 13 matte eyeshadows, and those are all the bottom row here that you can see. And then on the top here, you've got 9 metallic eyeshadows. Now, each of the eyeshadow pans come with 1.7 grams of eyeshadow, okay? So you're getting a decent size, you know, portion of eyeshadows. That's about 0.06 ounces of eyeshadows in each pan, so that's a decent size, to be honest. Now, if you actually do the calculations and everything, you would actually know that this is probably, I'd say this is one of the best in terms of quality and price that you're paying for a holiday release. I think this one is definitely one of the better options. Even though it's pricey, it's still quite decent in terms of what you're getting in the quality. So I'm going to quickly just run through my thoughts on the quality of each of these shadows, and just let you know what I think about them, and is it, you know, worth it in general. So I am using this again, as I said, to do my eye look today. Overall, I would say that I do like this palette. I really do like it. Now, there are some cons to this, so I'm going to start off with the negatives, and then we'll go into the positives, okay? So for me, in terms of the negatives of this, is I know what I saw when obviously I picked up this palette, but I would have loved if the palette had just a shade or two that was just really good for transitioning, you know, just a couple of warmer tone browns or something that would be really good for transitioning, because I find that I can't really find many shades in here that would work to transition, and I only stuck to this palette today, and I use the shade Velvet and Oak, which is the brown shade, and the purple shade here to kind of do my transition that you can see. And they're quite deep colours, isn't it? So really, I just wish she had, you know, better options in terms of some transition shades in this. And obviously when you buy this, you can see the shades that you're getting, so it's not like a major deal, but I think to make it better, then that would have worked best for me. And yeah, I mean, there are a couple of shades that are a bit patchy in this, but I don't think that they're all that patchy. I think they still work really nice. They all blend really nicely. The metallic shades are actually really good as well. Overall, this is a very good palette. I mean, they're very pigmented. The mattes are super pigmented, as you could expect. I mean, you know, if you know Kat Von D eyeshadows, you shouldn't really expect anything other than pigment. I've just swatched some of the shades there, so you can see how pigmented they are. Can you see? And those are the mattes there. So can you see what I mean by some of the shades being a little bit patchy, but when you're actually using them and blending them, they all work really nicely. So yeah, I do really like it. Really enjoy them. They can kick up a bit of fallout from this, so you know, when you're actually using them, I do find that I do get some fallout with this, and they are a bit powdery in the pan themselves, but other than that, I think they work really well. I use suede as a base for me, so that when I am putting colour on top, it kind of blends everything blends out much nicer. And suede is just like this beige kind of brown tone. And then she also has a white in here called Linen, which is literally a pure white shade. And she has a really dark, you know, well, it's black, but a really pigmented black in here as well. And then the thing I really like about this is that even though she's got a black here, she's got a grey as well. So let's look at the difference between the two. So can you see the difference between the two tones there? So those are that's quite nice about it. And then she's just got some really nice mattes, and it's more of like a cool tone palette. The shimmers, oh my gosh guys, these shimmer shades are, they're so good. This shade Tinsel here is one that has like more of like the loose glitters in there, the chunkier glitters. This shade, the brown shade that I'm swatching now, Synergy, is what I've got all over my lid today, and that's really nice. Let's try this shade Flash. I've got it in my inner corner today, and that's the gold. Can you see? Like these are just some pigmented shimmer shades, and oh, look at that. They are just so stunning. Like this palette is just really such a good quality palette, guys. They are very pigmented. You can use them wet or dry as well. Obviously if you use them wet, then it intensifies the shadow itself. Now I've just cleaned my hand, as you can see, so I'm going to just put one of the shade, a couple of the shades on top of that, so you can kind of see what it looks like when my hand is a bit damp. Can you, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that, guys. Let's see this one. Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Look at that. These are so good. This shade's called Twinkle. Oh my gosh, that is so nice. So can you see just how intense you can get it when you actually dampen like your brush or the shadow? Really good. And obviously I'm doing finger swatches, and you know, finger swatches are obviously going to be great because I've said that to you guys before, but trust me, I have used them, and I am going to show you me using it on my eyes, and I have used them, and the performance of these is just really good. I have heard some mixed reviews on it. I mean, majority of people that have this palette typically say how much they really enjoy the palette, but I have heard a few reviews of the palette in terms of people complaining that it's very patchy with some of the matte shades in this, that they're quite patchy and there's a bit of fallout in this, which I can agree with, but to be honest, I don't think it's as patchy as some people are claiming it to be. I think it works really nicely. Some people say that there's only a limited amount of looks that you can get from this, but I've kind of tried to show you how you can maybe do a more subdued look and just have like a pop of colour as well with the look that I created. So yes, it's a kind of like a bold palette, to be honest. Like with the shade options, you could actually create some nice subdued looks with this as well. I will say that I would have to probably pull out another palette which has a nicer like warm tone transition shade in there, just for me personally, because obviously that's what I like to do with my eyeshadows, but just for today I never did that, but typically that's what I would do because it is missing in here. And saying that, overall I do really like this. It's definitely worth it. £45 is quite steep, but I do enjoy it. I do really like it. I mean, £50 is even more steep, so I'm glad I didn't pay £50 for it, but you know, £45 is still not, you know, that much cheaper. So yeah, it's a pricey palette. Thanks so much for listening, guys. Hopefully that was useful. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye. Ciao.
Goodbye, love, you feel like my love.